Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Genshin Impact. Today we are here with these fantastic people above head, aka my community, our streaming community, our buddy old pal friends of mine, love them to pieces. They're going to be helping us in today's endeavor. Now, today we're going to be trying to answer the question of the end user license agreement, meme, whatever, a certain character that we've been talking about on the channel for a while, and that they've actually talked about. But certain people, you know who you are, know a little bit more about her than others. I'm of course talking about Yomi, or give me a sec, where's the Yoimiya. I'm probably just gonna say Yomi because it's like a cute nickname, and it's not because I'm broken inside. All right. So yes, we're gonna be talking about Yomi today, and we're gonna be trying to break down her ideal team, knowing a little bit more than we maybe should, and of course this should be put at the top. Everything could change, so this is just something that you can kind of do now, characters that you can invest in now, because you can't really prepare for Yomi. We're gonna get her potentially, people are speculating, in 1.7, so just be careful on you know, that. Try to invest in characters that you won't have to come back to Mondstadt and level them up and have that headache. So I digress. Time is valuable. Let's get into what I think is going to be an incredibly strong team for Yomi. And again, we're going to be kind of jumping into talking about certain mechanics that she has, but also you can't see them, so you're not going to be, you're still, when you get Yomi or when you play her in the test run, she's going to still absolutely slay or look amazing, so that's not going to be spoiled for you. It's just going to be how her kit kind of functions, which I think is valuable to just even know at a base level, so that way you know what you're doing when you're doing it, and knowing if it's a character you even want to play as, right? But I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go into character archive and start speculating. So, the ideal team for Yomi, let me actually build a team right here and show you. And then I can't because we're in the thing. Well, whatever, we'll just jump into the archive and I'll explain. So, my ideal team for Yomi is going to be Venti at the very top in terms of the most valuable character, I think, for her. Now, the reason why I say Venti is because with the new 1.6 update came an amazing buff to Elemental Mastery that very few characters are able to benefit as much as Venti from it. And basically what it did is it made Swirl in combination with Elemental Mastery just insane. Not only that, but of course, Yomi, we know this, is going to do elemental fire damage. So, the fact that Venti is an animal character and can wield the Viridescent Veneer means he can make enemies take more fire damage. Not only that, but one of Yomi's weaknesses is that she's not like a Ganyu who does a massive amount of splash damage with her ult and her basic attack. She does a lot of single target, fast attacking damage, which is why, Venti can be amazing because he pulls everyone close, and I think if she even has the slightest bit of AoE, can melt things in that regard. But that's not the only reason why I think Venti is going to be absolutely perfect for Yomi. One of the things, and it's a little bit of a spoiler for Yomi in terms of her abilities, is that she's actually one of the characters that doesn't really benefit from her ult. Now what I mean by this is when Yomi activates her ult, she's going to peg an enemy on the head with a firework. This enemy is going to take amplified damage. Super valuable, right? Kind of makes Yomi, in a weird way, support. But it has a lot of energy cost. It has a long cooldown. It's not quite like that, but I digress. Anyways, the only thing that's bad about this is it doesn't amplify the damage that Yomi is dealing to that enemy. So this is one of the only ults that does not get affected by Yomi, so she can't benefit from it. But if you couple this ult with, a Venti ult, which is going to deal a shit ton of damage, and if you're using Yomi as you should use her, which is to hit an enemy with her in any way, with her E, she's going to be applying a fire element, and as soon as Venti sucks a person into that orb, it's going to ignite that orb and just absolutely shred the enemies, also weakening their cry or fire damage. So, that when Yomi cycles back into her, when her E finally comes back, you can smash shit, which is great, or just use her charge attack in the meantime, all that kind of stuff. But also, again, Venti does like 1,000 hits, and they're all going to be applying Swirl, which if you have Venti built for Elemental Mastery, is going to scale up that damage immensely. And this kind of solves Yomi's problem with you need a character that can deal a lot of damage when you activate Yomi's ult that isn't Yomi. so yeah, this is the way that you can kind of do that, and I think Venti is one of the best for this, just because of how long his ult lasts and how many times it hits and how deadly Venti is now with the buffs to Elemental Mastery. Of course, there are other characters that any sort of DPS is going to be great because she just weakens the enemy basically and allows them to take a shit ton more damage, which can be fantastic. But again, Venti solves a lot of the problems that Yoimi has in terms of not having crowd control essentially, or like not being able to deal splash damage to a crazy extent. At least that's what the data that certain people have seen and have told me about. And yes, at a certain point we'll jump to chat and the community and I want you guys to see like if any of this doesn't make sense and to tell me about it and whatnot. Okay, so the second valued character I think is very, very obviously our boy Shincho, the one who we're looking at right now. Shincho is absolutely amazing because he just applies a shit ton of the wet status, and of course Yoimi is a fire character, so he's going to be detonating Vaporize very, very quickly. But also, Shincho is just massive on every front. He deals an absurd amount of additive damage for free. He gives you shield. He also, if you build him a certain way, can heal you for a good bit. He's kind of nutty. And if you happen to have a lot of constellations for him, of course, he only gets more and more nuttier. But yeah, he's just, I think, a package deal. Also, again, whenever Yoimi uses her ult, all the damage that she's dealing doesn't matter. But if you have, I don't know, a Shincho who's throwing water blades at her, that's pretty good. Not only that, but one of the things I should have mentioned, one of Venti's biggest weaknesses is that Venti fucks up a lot of people's like grasp on an enemy. Like he sucks them up, but most enemies can't reach him unless you're a Yenfi or a caster or an archer, but there's very few of our Gon you can kind of do that. Yes, what do you call it? Yoimi is going to be a range character that's going to be able to hit people whilst they're in the swirl, and so is Shincho. Shincho can throw water blades at anybody, so if you're using both of them in combination, you're always going to be able to hit enemies when a lot of them aren't going to be able to hit you. And at the same time, you're weakening them, you're giving them more damage, you're applying elements really consistently. Just like a soup of damage is going to hopefully happen. And yeah. Regardless, that brings us to the second or the third character that I think is going to be the most valuable. Or is this the third? No, with Yoimi it's going to be the last character. Also, I guess we can do that. Weird, I thought we couldn't. Oh, I guess we can't do it when we're sitting. Oh, well, shit. Okay, well, let's. Oh, also I can't do it because people are in our group. That's fine. Stay in our group. I'd rather you guys be here. Let's go over to this one, archive. Okay, so we need a support character. So this can go a bunch of different ways. You can use Diona. That's also pretty good. Diona can give you some shielding, some protection, all that stuff. She can also buff your Elemental Master if you have enough constellation for her. All that's fantastic, but of course, I think there is another character that can give you fire resonance, which is an extra attack percent, which is fantastic. But not only that, but Bennett is going to be utilizing all of these people that we've just talked about to the utmost. When you're in Bennett's ult, you're gaining a shit ton of damage, but if you move outside of that ult, you kind of fall apart. But if you're a range character, that doesn't matter. You can stay in the ult as long as you want. So to me, I think Bennett slots in perfectly as a healer, especially if you have him on Noblesse Oblige. He's going to be buffing your ult damage and just making Venti stronger, making Shincho stronger, making everybody all around stronger. So yeah, I think Bennett's a clear choice here just because of everything that we're doing is going to be needing to be amplified in a spot, in a section. And yeah, that's my dream team for Yoimi. So that would be my advice on what you guys should invest in order to level up characters and to make them incredibly strong. And this is something that you can do right now. Again, one of the problems with Yoimi is that we can't actually build her because a lot of the stuff that she requires to level up is found within, potentially in Azuma, if that is what we're going to be getting in 1.7, which is what a lot of people think we're going to be getting. So, that is what I'm thinking. So again, right now I'm in the process of getting Venti as much Elemental Master as I possibly can. It's not going well. Not great. Anyways, and then I'm going to be leveling up Shincho, bringing him to level 90, just because, again, if you can make Shincho hit harder, that's going to be fantastic. And Bennett, I'm going to also be trying to switch him over to the Noblesse Oblige set. But I also want him to heal a great deal and have enough energy recharge to constantly cycle within his ult. So that's going to be a whole journey. Also, again, some characters I think will also work immensely well. Zhongli works with everybody and makes everyone basically a god. Fischl will probably also work really well just because she's, especially if you have her on the Mililis set, she's just going to be giving Yenfi more damage. And yeah, that's where I'm at. Now, I throw it over to my chat. What do you guys think? Do you guys think my dream team is flawed? Has a gap in it? I'm open to criticism. Hit me. Fuck me up. So some which way. I think, again, Ganyu could work immensely well because, again, she's like the opposite of Yoimi, who Yoimi does like a specific high damage to a singular target with fast fire rate. And also she does like a burst on a single target. I don't think her hold charge attack spreads out her damage. I think it heat seeks on one enemy, but it could heat seek on multiple. I haven't heard anything about that. Regardless, and the scaling. What you mean? Oh, you talking about the new artifact set? That's another reason I didn't mention why that's valuable. Okay, so one of the things that Yomi has is there's a new artifact set in Inazuma, potentially, if that's where we're going, that's amazing. How it functionally works is you'll burn some of your ult. I believe you burn like 20% of your ult charge, but you gain a shit ton of damage. By the way, whenever you activate your E, you burn your ult, and then you get a buff to your main normal attack. Also, maybe your charge attacks, if I'm not mistaken, or it may just be normal attacks. Regardless, it's kind of signed, sealed, and made for Yomi. But you also want Yomi's ult, so you're kind of stuck in this weird limbo, which is also why I think Bennett's great, because Bennett is just fantastic at generating fire particles, like crazy, crazy good. So yeah. That's also why I think Bennett slots in a little bit more than maybe other characters. Azel says, Bennett is a solid option for pretty much 90% of the team. Very true. Very true. Bennett slots in just about everywhere. But again, Diona has that elemental mastery that she's going to be giving. And if you can give that elemental mastery to a fire character so they can melt for pretty high numbers, that could be pretty heavy too. I just wonder if that's a high enough incentive over Bennett's base attack bump. You know what I mean? Also, everyone's benefiting from that base attack bump, not just, the elemental mastery reaction buffs, you know? So there may be some debate there. Lone Syndicate says, with Yomi, I would suggest a cryo character like Rosaria. But also, I will challenge that a little bit, Lone Syndicate, because Yomi, she scales off of critical rate, so you don't really need the benefit that Rosaria gives, necessarily. And also, there's some rumors about Chi-Chi getting a buff, so maybe Chi-Chi rather than Rosaria. But anyways, you'll suggest characters like Rosaria, the way they give crit rates, the way Venti Swirl can be cryo, infused, then Yomi can burst, can also be a bit big. Oh, okay, who's my other character? Oh yeah, but couldn't I just water it as well? So couldn't it be the same thing with Shincho giving water damage to the alt, rather than Rosaria's crit rate? Yeah, the only reason why Rosaria is a little weird to me is because of the crit rate thing. Yomi seems like crit rate is going to be not that bad to level up. One thing it says, I was referring to something I heard about Yomi get buffed by lowering her energy costs, but at the cost of lowering her elemental burst damage. Oh, okay, I didn't know about that. Interesting. Bennett, I believe everyone benefits from being in Bennett's ult. So if I pop Venti's ult, it's what they call a screenshotted or something. It's basically like that thing now has that damage even if Bennett's ult goes away. Snapshotting, that's what it's called. Sucrose could be huge, because that's the other thing, is that like if she's supposed to be this high damage single target thing, then buffing the shit out of your elemental mastery and getting melt to be an insane degree, that could be huge. So I don't know, like again, maybe that's a good reason why Venti is less good and Sucrose is better, but also I don't know if she's gonna have the problem with dealing high single target damage. I think her problem is gonna be like dealing damage to multiple enemies, because she seems like she can just melt anybody because she attacks so fast and she's dealing so much pyro damage. So Sucrose I think could be good, but I just don't know she kind of has the same problem as Eula. Like if I put Sucrose in the team, where like Eula, a lot of times you don't need to do 6 million damage and you're better off with utility instead. Sometimes. Second says, my girl Sucrose will be better since she boosts elemental mastery. Okay. Or also, yeah, it's true, but again, I'm not sure if you need the, like, again, that's my only thing that I'm trying to get a little weirded out by the Genshin community, is when people are like, 6 million damage, and I'm like, why? I'm just like, what? And also, you see the gameplay, and it's like the most, like, awful thing ever. The person's like, okay, now I need to activate this, wait, cycle to the next character, activate this, and the character's almost dead, the boss, and they're like, wait for it, and I'm like, this looks like a horrible way to play a video game. It just looks awful. But anyways, judgment aside, I mean, again, you can always utilize Geo-Resonance, which is good, but I'm not sure if it's as good as Venti Swirl and Weirdness. Is Ganyu can cycle in really well. She can fit. She basically can make up for her, like, if you want to deal splash damage, if you want to deal, like, blanketed damage over a massive radius, Ganyu can help you out. Again, Diona can give you elemental mastery. She also can shield you, which can give you some defense. She can also give you healing, which is great. She can also give you elemental mastery, but she doesn't deal any of the healing or shielding too well, which is why she's kind of the jack of all trades. Venti is just trivializes the game if an enemy weighs a little bit lighter than 1,000 pounds. so yeah. Sucrose is good. Jean can also be used, yeah. But I'm not sure if you're gonna need. Well, I guess that's true. One of the things that people are also speculating with Yomi is that you're gonna need another DPS. You're kind of like a Hu Tao. The only thing is that I don't know if she is, because she still has her charge attack. So that's also one of the reasons why I'm so excited for Yomi. Is that you can actually invest in her, you can use her basically. Like Hu Tao, you have like a pretty decent amount of time to like benefit, but when her E is gone, you're kind of just sitting there like, I gotta switch to a character and play someone else. You have to do that. With Yomi, you can, and you can kind of make up for it with a Sucrose alt or with a Bennett, with a Bennett, I said. You can make up for it with a Venti alt, or also Official works really well. I should throw that in there. The reason why I brought up Official is because, again, any person that can deal a decent amount of damage outside of the main DPS, Yomi, is valuable. Is Official, does Oz, maybe if you have Official built really, really hard and you have a shit ton of Constellation, then yes, but I'm not sure, man. With the 1.6, we were supposed to bump up some Electro, and we kind of did a little bit, but not into the, I mean, really, Swirl got fucking juiced. Fucking roided up. So, I don't know. Second says, you don't need 2 DPSs on your team. Yeah, it's true. Well, I also, again, some people are speculating that you could play her that way. You could be, like, if you have a Diluc and you have a Yomi, you're Pyro Resonance, and you could also, like, if you want to use her all and then switch to another DPS, you could. My thing is I would rather use Yomi's ult, switch to a support character like a Venti, like a Official, also there's a new character, the new wind Animo character, Sayu. Her ult apparently is going to heal you and also deal damage if you are already healed up, but if you have Constellation 1, it will do both, so that could be crazy. Also, she scales off of attack percent in every way, so Sayu, I definitely think is coming with her, Yomi, just because she slots in really, really, really well. If you don't have a Venti, I do think a Venti beats her just a little bit. Well, we don't know how good Sayu is, so yeah, we're kind of stuck in that limbo. Anyways, regardless, that's my thoughts on that. Let's see. Lone Ticket says, but Mona could also be. Oh, I forgot about Mona. Yeah, Mona's not bad either. Mona can also be. Yeah, she can amplify damage. But see, that's a lot of single target damage. Lone Syndicate, right? But Lone Syndicate says, but Mona's ult could also be useful because Mona is also a water character, and her burst amplify damage. And if you can apply Hydro to an enemy, it'll fall off as well. Yeah. Again, yeah, those are all good examples. And again, if only Mona had like 2 ults, like if they ever came out with an artifact set that amplified your, like being able to hold multiple of her E's, because that's the one thing I think where Mona falls off is her E is on a pretty hefty cooldown, and also it's stuck in a place. It's a construct, right? So it doesn't follow you, which is why Sayu might be fucking insane, because I believe her little tiny like teddy bear thing will stick with you, which is awesome. And or a Diona could keep me safe, or a Zhongli. Zhongli doesn't give enough defense, but also Zhongli could, if you have him with the Millilist set, which most people do, you could just get amplified damage from him and be safe, and you wouldn't really need a Bennett, and you could be mobile if you want, because even if you don't need to move in like you can be ranged, you still want to move in this game typically, because enemies comes in waves and you don't want to make a crazy long shot. Although with Yomi, she does have a heat seeking. Lynn says, does the weird samurai bot drop the right thing for you? No, she does not, Lynn. This is one of the problems with Yomi is the only thing you can do to prepare for Yomi is to buff her supporting characters and get XP books. That's it. Everything else, her talent books and her weapon and her ascension materials, is from the new Fire Cube, but potentially coming within Inazuma. So no, that's not. But if you do want to level up Sayu, she does require the samurai bot's little mechanism piece. So there's that. Bido's burst could also be beneficial to get the nice overload damage and use Sayu new helicopter. Yeah, that's not okay. Yeah, that's good. That's another separate thing. If you all have Bido leveled up with a shit ton of energy recharge. Also, apparently, this is another thing that most people aren't talking about, but it's the main traveler is getting a. I don't want to do too much spoiling, but the main traveler is going to get juiced, and I mean that in a way, but he's also going to share the juice. He's going to be a steroid dealer, but it's true. He's basically becoming a battery for your whole team within 1.7. Potentially, if we get him, then they could bait it out for longer. But yeah, he's basically going to give a shit ton of energy recharge, and also he seems like he's basically Bido, except a little without the DPS. that's my take on the new Elemental Travelers. Bido can like do counter hits and deal a shit ton of damage that way, whereas the main Traveler's new kit very much makes him a pure support, but it's basically what Bido does, except what I think is better. So I feel like leveling up your main Traveler would be a pretty good idea if you don't have other characters. So if you're making another team, I think that. Do I think that energy recharge is better than Venti, who can already do a shit ton of energy? No. But could it be if you have Bennett, or if you have Bido and the main Traveler, and maybe like a Bennett just to give you some healing or something like that? Yeah, that I think that could be crazy. Because yeah, you're having 2 elemental procs happening at the same time. It's a lot of electro damage, but I think it could work really well if you have those characters leveled. Again, that's also the other thing, is that you're trying to consider maybe people like the best team ever doesn't necessarily mean everyone can attain that. So you got to give other examples which are good characters if you have those characters. Lynn says, Sag, I know, I would love to prepare for Yomi as well. But what you can do, Lynn, is you can fucking save that fragile resin. All right. I'm doing my best to bank that shit up. Nanny says, not sure, but could Diona be any good? You know, Diona could be really great. Yeah, absolutely for her. Yeah. Again, even if you have no constellation, Diona in general is just a solid character. She can she heals the shit at you. She gives you a shield. She also does cryo. She also does a lot of both of those things. So yeah, she's great. Again, if you have a lot of constellation for her, then she's giving you elemental mastery on top of doing all of those other things, amongst other things. Lone Snicket says, Frost, Mona's burst is it affects every target in an AoE. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought Mona's. I knew it was like a radius. I thought it was a tight radius. I didn't think it was huge, but maybe if it is pretty big, then that could be great. Yeah. I don't know if you want to double up on weaknesses. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Mona would work really well with a Ganyu because she does so much splash damage with her ult that she could like affect everyone. You know what I mean? Double weakness to me is always a weird sell. Anyways, what's good, Damien? I still think it's better to use Shinsho. The reason why is because Yomi hits fast, not hard. She hits many times, so if it's about constantly applying the element and constantly being able to have it detonate. So yeah, that's where I would kind of be like, okay, I think Yomi is a little bit better in that regard because, Melt, she's not hitting like Ganyu, which hits really hard once or 4 or 5 times because she hits like a noob tube. But maybe if you use her charge attack, and again, there's some stuff with Yomi that people don't know, and none of us know too much yet. Like Yomi could theoretically double or triple dip into damage, so like Bennett amplifies your damage, right? So one of the things that Yomi apparently has is, unlike Ganyu, who fires like a bomb that explodes in like 4 directions as like a noob tube, Yomi fires 3 fireworks that heat seek onto an enemy. Now, if each one of those projectiles is considered its own projectile and not the same, it could triple dip into Bennett's amplified damage, or double hit a person, which is good and bad. It's good in the sense that it can like hit hard with the amplified damage, but it also is bad because it will take the element. So if like a person's wet or has cryo on them or whatever, it will kill them and detonate the first thing, but the other things won't gain the benefits from that detonation. You know what I mean? A little bit logistically crazy, but yes. Hazel says, yeah, main character is going to be a Duracell battery. Yeah. We're here. Can we talk about some weapons that would be good for you? Oh, that's a great idea. I completely forgot, Lone Syndicate. Okay. So in terms of weapons for Yomi, because we have some teams built in our weird theory crafting, I will say, please, I don't know how, fuck it. We're going all in with this video. All right. So, if by chance, you have been holding on to certain prototypes, and God in heaven, have the prototypes for the bows been absolute shit. Hopefully you haven't just built one out of boredom, and hopefully you have a great deal of, where the fuck is this weapon thing I'm looking for? Jesus Christ, did I pass it? No, it's right here. Hopefully you have a lot of these bows, because one of the new weapons that is potentially coming, that is another prototype weapon, a free weapon, is going to be coming in 1.7, and it's going to be pretty damn perfect for a Yomi. It's going to buff your attack and your charge attack, and it's going to do it to the extent in which, you know how there was that bow for Ganyu, which buffed up her like charge attack to a crazy amount, but it also had the effect of you having to like fire from a long range away in order for it to progressively deal more damage with a longer shot or whatever. This bow doesn't need any of that, and not only does it buff your charge attack, it also buffs your single target or your normal attack, which is perfect for Yoimi. So this free-to-play weapon is, again, I think Yoimi is one of the best characters to get if you're getting into Genshin, because she has a weapon almost just queued up and ready to go. She also is a really good DPS that seems very fun to play, and she also has what do you call it? She also has an like, she can be a support in a way. She can like give other characters the ability to do a shit ton of damage if you want to melt a boss that's giving you a little trouble. And also she can play on her terms. She's a ranged character. She's not gonna suffer from if there's another character that like freezes an enemy. Like that's what people are speculating, that's gonna be the Electro Traveler, or sorry, the Electro Archon, the next big god, the Electro God. They're speculating that she's going to do with CC stuff, support like stuff, freezing enemies in time or whatnot, and if she somehow like freezes an enemy a mile away from you and you have to spend like 9 minutes or 9 seconds running over to an enemy to hit them, that sucks. Whereas if you're playing Yoimi, you can just use a charge attack, smash them, use your E, hit them from afar, and just profit like that. But yes, as a weapons, I would definitely say save your prototypes. I'm so sorry, Lynn. I seen your comment. I try not to laugh, but you're like, I built one out of boredoms. Okay. Also, it seems like the next couple events, they're now starting to trickle out to us blueprints. So if you're planning on getting Yoimi, maybe use these blueprints that they're probably going to continue to give us. Buy some bows essentially. But the good news is that the Northland blueprint weapons, or whatever they're called, like these, they work in Inazuma. People were really worried that they were going to make a brand new prototype weapon, and they're like, no! But instead, we can use these ones, which is dope. Amos bow is the one I was talking about. Yeah, so there's this new bow that's going to buff up your attack and all, but the only negative thing is that it does scale up attack percentage, which it doesn't like give you crit damage or crit rate. But I still think it's not going to be a big difference. I mean, maybe you want a bow that can give you crit damage just because she scales with crit rate, so you only need a little more crit rate in her substats in order to benefit from stuff. But yeah, this is just turning into the quintessential guide for end user license agreement character. Lynn says, is she a DPS? Yoimi, yes. Yoimi basically has, think of like Ganyu mixed with Hu Tao. That's the best description, because her E is basically like Hu Tao's, except with from range, and it's only her normal attack, so it's not her charge attack. But when your E is gone, Yoimi still is Ganyu. So Yoimi can basically just do a charge attack, and she basically charges up these fireworks and then unleashes 3 of them, which is good and bad. Good if it's like it sprinkles out between enemies, so it's not just doing one single target damage, but we'll see. Lone Ticket says, I mean, Frost, you talking about Zhongli and Yoimi, that's also double weakness, even if it's in the form of a shield as well. Yeah, that's true. Again, I think Zhongli kind of slots in everywhere. I don't know if like Yomi's gonna struggle from like, I need enemies to be more weak. You know, that's why like when I think of Mona, I'm like, yeah, or like, do you want enemies to be taunted? I'm like, well, maybe. And again, Mona makes more sense because you could like drop your taunt, it could be wetting enemies, and then you could do a charge attack and set off vaporize and then fuck them up that way. But yeah, Zhongli. Yeah, I guess you could put Zhongli's pillar and then put Mona's, and then it would like the enemies would be pulled in because of Mona's taunt, and Zhongli's E would be hitting them, dealing damage, and then you'd be creating a ton of fire shards, and then you could just have anyone else there, like Diona, and that could help too, just giving you shield and healing. Wouldn't be bad. Would not be bad. Is this Shinchu harem? It's kind of turned out that way, in a weird way. The inverse of the meme, of course. Lone Syndicate says, Yoimi turns bow into machine gun hits fast, but not hard, while Ganyu turns bow into a rocket launcher, slow but powerful. Yeah, Lone Syndicate, I'm not sure, man. The scaling on her, like, when she activates fire mode, seems to get pretty nutty. So people are like, she's like a death by 1,000 cuts. And I'm like, yeah, I know she attacks fast, but I feel like with anything in this game, like, I've seen some footage of people hitting for 6K on her normal ass attack, and she's hitting fast. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe, again, but also I'm not sure if that person necessarily wasn't hitting with Vaporize. So, you know, like you're hitting 6,000 damage, but when you hit a Vaporize proc, you're hitting for like 15, maybe 20. And if you have Shinsho, you can constantly apply that. And if you have her alt on an enemy, you can make that damage even more. And if you have Bennett, who can pull enemies, or not Bennett, if you have Venti and pull enemies in, and weaken them to fire, you're hitting even more fire. And then on the down time, you can do charge attacks and fuck shit up that way, because you're still being able to utilize Veridis Veneer's lowering of fire damage, right? I'm not sure if her charge attack is going to be shit, is what I'm getting at. Because again, people were waiting, but also maybe maybe you guys know more than me. In the Bennett or in the beta test, did people say that her bow charge attack scales in a way? Because that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting to see if her bow's scaling scales individually or as a whole. I'm not sure. Basically, I'm not sure if, like, can you make through Bennett, through various other damage amplification kind of things, her charge attack hit pretty fucking hard. Maybe not exactly like Ganyu, but also you're hitting like 3 attacks, like it's what your damage times 3, you know? Also, where did the music go? Give me a minute. I don't like the silence. It bothers me. Alo says the new 4-star bow is coming 1.7 is gonna be better for Ganyu than a 5-star bow. Yes, a little bit, which is good, honestly. Because if you're one of those people who didn't fucking wail out on that shit, you're like, thank God, my Ganyu can be even stronger. What? But also, it's not necessarily buffing Ganyu's ult, you know. Also, I think the Amos bow scales off of like something. Is it critical damage or something? Or is it just attack percent? I thought it was like crit rate or something. The one bow doesn't have any sort of like good modifier. It has attack percent, which maybe is good for Yomi. But yeah, also if you guys don't know, Yomi's bow scales really hard with her constellation. If you get like C6, which is crazy, no one's gonna get that. No normal person's gonna get that. But yeah, Yomi's C6 basically turns her E into like even more crazy. It makes her even more deadly, which is fun. Makes her quite literally a machine gun at that point, or at least has the potential to spew out arrows. Amos is Amos is attack. Okay, yeah, so no, this is just better on every cylinder. That's a little rough. Lone Siget says, also, lovely people watching this video, there is a character coming after Yomi, another waifu named Ayaka, also deals AoE cryo damage, and you could pair her with Yomi pyro. Yeah, it's true. It's true, but also, I don't know if I feel like they would step on each other's toes a little bit, because it feels like Ayaka really needs to play a lot. Like, she doesn't have any mechanics that necessarily force her to do that, but the way you're like constantly sprinting around to like gain stacks of certain things by like being in the ground for longer, I feel like that's pretty important, but I don't know. Lynn says, Ayaka, you mean Virgil, right? Yeah. That's a good way to put it too. Yeah. And yeah. That's some weird shit. It's exactly like Virgil. Lone Singer says, I believe Ayaka can be a support because her burst decreases defense as well as. I didn't think about that. Yeah, it requires her to be on the field. Yeah, it's true. That's true. Yeah. I just think Ayaka is like. Honestly, Lone Syndicate, we were probably gonna make a video about Ayaka when we're a little bit closer to like when shit's happening. If Ayaka stays the same, I don't think anybody needs. I think she doesn't need anybody. Like anybody. That's why when you say Ayaka, I'm like, dude, I don't even know. she could be. She's an independent woman, right? She's one of these where it's just like, fuck, stay out the way. Maybe give her a shield. That's it. Lonzy says, yeah, Ayaka's video can't wait. All other DPS stand aside for the new waifu. Yeah, man, she looks crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. That was us theory crafting about Yomi. Again, very, very excited for the character. Again, I think there's the thing is that there's a lot of characters that you can use that benefit. Again, Shinsho. Honestly, what I was just doing was like pointing out some of the best characters in the game and just being like, yeah, she works. It works. Again, Shinsho works to the Vaporize. Venti works because I think it patches the problem with it that she's gonna have, which is the fact that she isn't a Ganyu who does a shit ton of AoE damage or a shit ton of like blanketed damage. So having a character like Venti that can suck up enemies into the air and also just immobilize them, but also allow them to take more damage could be huge. Bennett can utilize any character who has range damage who can benefit from that. And again, Yomi is a range character, so she's going to be throwing swords from range and killing things, or she's going to be throwing. Again, I'm thinking about everything at the end. So if you're using this team properly, you're going to use Bennett's ult, you're going to use Shinsho, and then you're going to use Yomi's E, and then just start dealing damage. And then whenever Yomi has her ult, you pop out, use her ult, and then bang out, what do you call it, Venti's ult, so that he can basically, you just start doing a ton of damage, and your ult can be used, and can start passing enemy to enemy, and you can start doing charge attacks if you want to just give some additive damage, or you can switch to Venti, just because he's, well, probably not switch to Venti, you probably still want to play Yomi in this kind of situation, I think. Regardless, that's why my system of things work. Again, you may want to slot in a Zhongli, which for just some great like millilith set bonus, as well as having a shield, as well as having a shit ton of health and all these benefits that jungling gives. You can also freeze an enemy, so if enemies are coming at you, you can do that. Again, other great examples that people were using, or people that I didn't even consider, was Mona. Mona can be fantastic. She can cause a taunt, which can pull enemies there, but she also wets them, so they're being dragged into her E, essentially. And if you have like official there or a Zhongli's pillars there, they're going to be taking damage from that. Activating the millilith set, if you have them built that way, that can be huge. You can have what do you call it, Jean. Jean's a great example over there too. What do you call it, she can use great healing. She also is a good sub DPS, so if you do want to play Yomi as like kind of a use the character then cycle over to a new character, you can, although I don't think you need to play her that way, but you can. Also, if you have a Diluc, that can also be good too if you want to play Yomi as a kind of like a Hu Tao, like where you want to use a character and switch off. There's plenty of things that you can use, but ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Let me know in the comments down below if you've actually thought of anything different that we kind of missed. Although, again, one of the things I should also mention is that there's a new character, Sayu, who I definitely think is going to be on her banner, and slots in very, very well with her as well. Kind of, to some extent, patching the, if you don't have a Venti, I think she could work really, really well. Especially considering one of the things about Sayu, if you don't know, is that her ult deals damage. I think it's like a little teddy bear that runs around and fucks shit up. So I think that could be utilized for her very, very well as well. But I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Appreciate all the lovely people up topside being absolutely wonderful. I'm going to continue to stream, but I did just want to make a video with you guys because I thought this would be interesting, especially considering the things I could miss. Again, I made a lot of these like team building things, and then the people in the comments were like, but wait! And I was like, damn it, I wish you came in before the thing. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. Also, if anyone did, support, like, or share this video. Much love, and also expect some Yomi videos once she comes out. Thank you kindly, and goodbye.